Now, welcome to a bit of a extempore video, Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night. A game, basically it was led by a guy who made Symphony of the Night, has a great, perhaps one of the best Castlevania games ever made, and damn good game in general sense. After his little breakup with his employer, he decided that let's just use the group crowdfunding to make a sequel to Symphony of the Night using all the gameplay little quirks and quirks it had, but they couldn't make it Castlevania, so they made it Bloodstained. And this is a real good game, but it's tough as well. So I'm gonna just show that, and additionally, and in addition to the basic gameplay mode, which allows you to play with in total 4 different characters, which is the same with the main character and the extra character also appearing in the game, and a couple of others, and actually 2 extra main character, 2 extra characters which appear in the game itself, and one completely extra character as well from completely other game as well. But it's time to show the classic mode, which basically makes the game a basic platformer. So let's see how far do I get with this game with normal difficulty, and I don't think I'm gonna get through, but I'm still gonna yabber on about this game because the main game would be a long full project, even without, if I would go with the fully upgraded main character in New Game Plus, it would still be quite a long struggle. But there it is, Hellhorn Castle, and Miriam about to enter that location. That was very much of Castlevania 3. And Miriam is a shardbinder, a person who is basically able to bind demons to her with the cost of becoming crystalline in the long process. It's the games, because they basically had to build the whole basic world of for this game. It's kind of a lackluster and kind of bizarre, but what to say, it involves alchemists wanting to make themselves useful, demonic possessions, human sacrifices, all that kind of nonsense, and of course world going to complete hell because of the demons wrecking hell, and shardbinders being really good at killing demons because they can bind them to themselves. But of course, them binding demons to themselves makes them vulnerable to demonic possession. Nothing particularly, and it was late 1700s when it happened, or when the game is located, so there's guns and all that. And there she is, Miriam. And those little markings in her legs are not tattoos, they're crystalline strokes. And this is from the main game itself. This room turns around to show that the map twists around a bit different way. So it's a really nice little detail that they added. I think I'm gonna play this until, well, let's see, how much lives do I have? Loading times seem to be quite fucking long. I may have to cut them. Oh yeah, and this classic mode was also a completely new thing that they added to the game. Come on. Sluggish. This kind of thing is really bad for this kind of game. But they did have to make completely new... Yeah. Oh yeah, there's life system in this classic mode, but I think I'm gonna just play for the first death. Oh, yep. And if I remember right, this location does not actually appear as such in the full main game at all. And of course, when it's a matter of this extra game mode, the gameplay is completely different compared to the original one. Yep. Okay, we got this jumpy and falling to my death, but I think I'm gonna continue because, well, I didn't even get the... Yep. Miriam in this game mode controls just like Belmonts. Obviously, the old school Belmonts which drop like a stone if they walk off the edge. Yeah. And interestingly enough, there was a backer bonus of getting the producer Koji Igarashi to appear as a secret super boss in this game, which is, I would say, quite a humorous little reference to the, well, it's kind of humorous thing. Whoop. Ah, damn it. Oh yeah, lots of enemies, but there was a dose of tasty wall meat. With this I can just walk like a stone. Yeah, and all these monsters are something which do appear in the main game itself as well. Right at the early phases as well. So yeah, this mode, it feels jarring when you have this 8-bit style menu, but then you have completely modern 3D graphics with all the stylings and... Oh yeah, there was no that little... Climbing up. Yeah, it feels very much like a Castlevania 3 and combination of Castlevania 1 and 3 with this vertical segment and... Oh, damn. No ratchet scrolling all. I don't remember what to say. Was it? I don't remember. Was it actually called ratchet scrolling in that the scrolling screen upwards makes basically bottom of the screen a bottomless pit, even though there should be a floor down there. There isn't, because the floor has been scrolled up. It was a work of the 8-bit system, or at least some 8-bit games. But I do say that this game's graphical style is really impressive. It is a damn good game. Oh yeah, I got this Castlevania style bone toss attack. It's real nice that all the extra well, the secret super boss they were all freely included in the game. So this game isn't badly made. And this looks like a boss. Oh yeah, it's just like Castlevania 1's first boss, the Vampire Bat, which I defeated. And with all this... Well, I got through the first stage. Timer, boss, bonus item. And once again, it saves, it has to load. And it also has even Castlevania style map. Oh, which actually even gives me some sort of idea how the map level is supposed to go, as in the Castlevania 3, which had similar map, didn't have that kind of styling. It was basically just a map shows going this way, but the actual gameplay might throw you completely different directions. But that's just my memory being messing up. Come on, stop wasting my time, game. Yep, and all the basic enemies which show up in this stage or in this game mode, they are from the main game itself. Maybe they might have been scaled up or down a bit, but they are all from the main game. And I find this kind of inclusion of this game mode really kind of witty. Platforming challenges. Yep. Yep. And some sort of, I think this is the Castlevania boomerang. Alright, avoid the spear stab. And moving platform. I don't think that thing in the background is anything to grapple. Surprise bat ready to throw you off the pit. Oh yes, it is a Castlevania boomerang, but I cannot use it. And flying Medusa heads going. Oh yeah, this is the library of the main game, or something very similar to that. Going forward, quite intense. Oh yeah, and it's a real shame that Konami itself seems to have been complete. Seems to be lacking that what kind of things. Oh, I got the time stopping thing. That also appears in the main game, but it's also something like a extreme late game superpower that if you actually manage to get that ability to yourself, you really don't need it. You're already skilled and or overpowered enough to just rip anything apart. Meaning that you can just tank through everything, you don't need any skill, and knowing that how powerful Miriam. Well, even though I would say that compared to the Symphony of the Night, this game is better balanced. Even you can get very potent weapons very early in the game. It's much more better balanced, mostly because of bosses, which are way tougher in this one than. Yeah, the bosses of this game are way tougher than they were in Symphony of the Night bosses were. And death. Ugh. Real. Oh yes, this is the time stopping sword. Going forward. Oops. Oh yeah, I got the back dash, I got the floor dash. Yeah, I got the basic moves of Miriam's basic maneuvers in my bag. So what you can do is, well, generally you could say that the classic basic mode of the gameplay mode is very much the sequel of the Symphony of the Night, but they couldn't make a Castlevania game, so they just had to make a rebrand it with something else, which they did quite well. It's not, of course, it ain't perfect, but it's more than good enough. Yeah, don't get into slugfights with in this game mode. Even in the regular game mode, it would not be a wise move to get into a... Oh yeah, and oh, it threw me off the pit. Well, let's take the time stopper shard. Yeah, they knew exactly what kind of gameplay the original Castlevania had, quite sluggish, which I'm really glad that they later games have made. Added much more maneuverability and agility to the characters. And I think the worst case of being very sluggish, clunky character in Castlevania happened. I think it's in the Castlevania Adventure, aka the Game Boy Castlevania, but it would be quite pointless for me to be ranting about that because I already made a video of that. Well, that cleaned up a little bit. Do the enemies respawn? No, they don't. Yay. Oh yeah. That was a bit of a scary jump. And the music also is very reminiscent for the original Castlevania music. It sounds a bit, you could say, a bit more developed in technical sense, that it might be something like a 16-bit era music instead of 8-bit era. But, or at least something like a late 8-bit era. Not with, of which that you could say that the Castlevania 3 was of that era. It was late 8-bit era, not 16-bit era. And of course 16-bit era can also be checked that there was a earlier and then the later phase. Because well, these generations of generations, the transition usually isn't completely clear-cut. It was at a, you could say, between 8-bit and 16-bit. The difference was very vast, but differences between PlayStation 4 and 3 and 4 were quite negligible. And or you say that how the games looked and how they could be what kind of developmental options developers had making those games, they were quite similar. But when you look at how vastly more complex games 16-bit era made. Well, let's just use the time stopper to blaze through this place. Oh, dude, the Dulla Hammer boss. It spawns heads. Actually, this was quite easy boss. Did it die already? Oh, it was. Stages are basically feel more difficult than the bosses in this game mode, which is something like a opposite for the main game, where you can just start blazing through the game quite easily, but then you have bosses which would rip you apart in seconds. And there would be something like 5 stages. 1, 2, 3, oh, 6. Just like classic Castlevania. I'm not quite certain that the final stage would be in that keep kind of place. Center castle, or however you wanna call it. Kind of sluggish these loading times. Oh, but actually, Miriam's got quite a quite impressive array of moves. Yeah, she moves sluggishly, but she can do. But the fact that she can do the backflip and backdash give her some kind of extra maneuverability you wouldn't expect from Belmont-esque heroine to have. Not heroine. Heroine's a drug. You don't want to do that. It's an opiate. It removes pain, but it's also horribly physically addictive stuff. So, oops. Oh yeah, like this kind of bit of janky hip detection in that. Although I would say that maneuvers Miriam can do without just like jumping on the ladder are something that Simon and Trevor Belmont would have sold their souls to get. Oh, and she stands classy. Oh yeah. Oop, 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 back jumps, really good, and music feels very Castlevania-like. Oop. And yeah, of course those things goes. Oh, not like that. Oh yeah, it's a game over. But oh, it wasn't yet. So, but let's just see. Does it throw? Missed one pest, hit the other pest. I don't know, should I say it was a good deal or bad deal? But the gameplay of this game, once you get familiar with the quirks of this gameplay mode, and of course the main game's quirks as well, is really solid. Still getting through. And a nice moon, Bloodstained, ritual of the moon, so of course there will be a big moon. The gothic architecture horror setting, gothic fantasy setting demands use of big moons. Which can be made all kinds of weird things, given weird colors, weird faces, and all that kind of things. And of course the Genesis series of that gave birth this game Also is quite familiar with using of bizarre moon. Up. Oh, death jump. Yeah, now it was the game over. Well, Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night, game with lots of different changes and spins, so there's a lot of game to play. Very much lots of game to play. Even in the main game there's lots of playing, plus the extra modes makes this very durable game. So I say this is damn fun game. It would be only way to make it actually better would it be if it would be a real Castlevania title. But damn good game is better than Castlevania game which is not a damn good game. See you later.